Nyata everyone! Are you up and ready for playgroup yet? Or are you still snoozing in your bed? I hope everyone's up and ready for another session of Playgroup Live. It's going to be good when we can get back to Playgroup in person, isn't it? But for now, we're still doing Playgroup Live. So I hope you'll be able to join in with the songs today and the story and the craft. So we're going to start off by doing Acknowledgement to Country. And I'm sure you all know how to do that now. So if you've got some popocks, some clapsticks, or 2 sticks, or even your meringue, you can clap your meringue if you haven't got any sticks. So let's say our Acknowledgement to Country all together. Are you ready? We at Whurrong Playgroup would like to say thank you to the Whurrong people for sharing your land with us. We promise to look after it, the animals and the people too. Nyata land, nyata sky, nyata me, nyata friends. I think you can give yourselves a big clap with your meringue. Well done, everybody. Good job. Now, I've got a bit of a rhyme to teach you today because later on I have a story about a nayuk, a cockatoo. And I've got 2 nayuks. Here we go. I've got, remember what the word for one is? Kayap. Kayap. I've got Kayap, nayuk. And I've got Palach, 2 nayuks, 2 cockatoos. Kayap, Palach. Now this rhyme is actually, we use the word nayuk in it for cockatoo, and it goes like this. 2 little nayuks flying from a chuka. One named Nayuk and one named Iluka. Fly away, Nayuk, fly away, Iluka. Come back, Nayuk, come back, Iluka. Maybe you could put your fingers up to be like Nayuks. Let's do it together. Are you ready? 2 little nayuks flying from a chuka. One named Nagra and one named Iluka. I think I got the name wrong before. One named Alaga and one named Iluka. Fly away, Nagra, fly away, Iluka. Come back, Nagra, come back, Iluka. That's a bit funny. I got the names wrong before, didn't I? Never mind. We might do it one more time. K up more time. And this time we'll get the words right, the names of the nayuks right. 2 little nayuks flying from a chuka. One named Nagra, one named Iluka. Fly away, Nagra, fly away, Iluka. Come back, Nagra, come back, Iluka. Well done. Did you join in with that? I think you should give yourself a big pat on the back. Well done. But today I have a story that I want to read you, and it's called Charlie in Charge, and it's about a cockatoo. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to see that. I know that there's a bit of reflection often on here, but it's called Charlie in Charge, and it's about a sulphur-crested white cockatoo. So that's the yellow crest. They call it a sulphur-crested white cockatoo because the colour of sulphur is yellow, and he has a bright yellow crest on his head, this cockatoo. And he's called Charlie. So I wonder what this story about Charlie is going to be all about. Let's find out. Charlie in charge. Charlie was a big, sulphur-crested cockatoo. He was strong and he was brave, and he also was the boss. There is Charlie. He's a pretty cute looking cockatoo. He's a nugget. Charlie's job was to look after all the other cockatoos and parrots. When everyone flocked together to feed on the ground or in the trees, Charlie kept watch from high up in the branches. What do you think he might have been watching for? We might find out. At the first sign of danger, Charlie would let out a very loud screech, and this warned everyone that something was wrong. Have you ever heard a cockatoo screeching? They can be very loud, can't they? Quick as a flash, the birds would flap their wings and fly away as fast as they could, screeching and squawking into the sky. So the birds would all fly away from any danger that Charlie warned them about. Charlie loved being in charge. He'd done this job for a long time, and he was good at it. It made him feel important and very proud. There's Charlie. He does look very important and very proud, doesn't he? However, there were some birds who were sick of Charlie always being the boss. "It's not fair," moaned the big galah one morning. "Why does Charlie always get to be in charge? I think I'd do a much better job than him. I think I should be the boss from now on." Oh dear, look at this galah. He thinks he should be the boss. Do you think he should be the boss instead of Charlie? I wonder if he will make a good boss. The galahs thought this was a wonderful idea, and they flew off to tell the other birds. The big galah flew up into the tree where Charlie was. "You can go back down the tree now, Charlie," called the galah. "I'm the boss from now on, so I get to tell you what to do." Dear me, there's the galah up in the tree, telling Charlie that he wants to be the boss. Charlie was a bit surprised, and he laughed at the galah. "You can't be the boss, galah. You're far too silly." But the galah just ignored him and called all his friends over. "Fly away, Charlie," they screeched at once. "You're not the boss anymore." Oh dear, poor Charlie. The galahs were quickly joined by more birds, and their screeches and squawks got louder and louder until poor Charlie couldn't stand it any more. There they are, look at the parrots, screeching and squawking and making lots of noise. "Maybe the other birds really have had enough of me," Charlie thought sadly. "I suppose it's time someone else had a turn." Charlie's beautiful yellow crest went flat on his head. Without a sound, he spread his big white wings and flew down from the tree. There's Charlie, flying down from the tree. The birds cheered loudly, and the big galah sat on the branch where Charlie had always perched. He felt very important and proud of himself. Do you think he looks as important as Charlie did? What do you think? I'm the boss, he said, and before long he began to show off. He hung upside down from the branch, and then he flew in crazy zigzags across the sky, squawking loudly and annoying everyone. There he is, showing off, hanging from the branch and being silly. The rainbow lorikeets were not impressed. That galah is so silly, they grumbled. He's so busy showing off that he wouldn't even notice if the rest of us were in danger. One of the lorikeets decided that she could do a far better job and that she should be the boss from now on. There's one of the little lorikeets. She says, I should be the boss. I'd do a better job than the galah. Do you think that the lorikeet would do a better job than the galah? The pretty little lorikeet perched on a branch and twittered happily to herself. She asked some of her friends to come and join her, and they spent hours chattering away in the tree and ignoring everyone else. Do you think they'd be watching out for danger? They're too busy chattering. Oh, did I show you that picture? There they are, chattering away in the tree and not looking out for danger. Dear, I don't think they'd be very good bosses. The budgerigars were tired of hearing the lorikeets' constant chatter. Those lorikeets are a pain. They never stop talking long enough to know if we're in danger. So they chose a little budgie to be the new boss instead. Look at that little budgie. Do you think the budgie would be able to see as much as the cockatoo on the top of the tree? The little budgie didn't really want to be boss. He was a bit scared of danger, so he asked his mum to come and keep him company in the tree. How can that budgie be in charge? Said the king parrot. I'm sure I can do a much better job. From now on, I think I'll be in charge. The king parrot. There's the king parrot. King parrot says, I'll be a better boss than the budgie. Meanwhile, many of the other birds were beginning to miss Charlie. We need Charlie to be the boss again, said the Kirrae. It hasn't been the same since he left. I know, said the parrot. The other birds are hopeless at being the boss. Let's ask Charlie to come back and look after us. Do you think Charlie should come back and look after the birds? We'll find out. The birds found Charlie and told him about all the problems they'd been having. The crimson rosella had tried to be in charge but kept flying away to drink nectar in people's gardens. It's quite a pretty bird, isn't it? They love to drink nectar out of the flowers. The black cockatoo had also had a turn, but he'd spent all day puffing up his feathers and grooming himself. There's the black cockatoo, the pon-pon-poromok. Do you remember when Banjo, the black cockatoo, came to visit us at Playgroup? That was exciting, wasn't it? The Mitchell's cockatoo had been just as proud and only wanted to show off her red and gold crest. I don't think I've seen one of those cockatoos. They've got a red and gold crest, and they're called a Mitchell's cockatoo. Charlie listened. He knew he was the best bird for the job, but his pride had been hurt. He was just about to turn away when suddenly he heard a twig crack below on the ground. I wonder what that could be. Charlie froze. He cocked his head to one side and he listened hard. Crack! Another twig snapped, then another one. And look at Charlie. Whoops. He's listening very carefully. He's got his head to one side, listening carefully. I wonder what is making the sound of those twigs cracking below. Let's find out. If I can turn the page. A flash of brown fur in the bushes below caught Charlie's eye. He quickly sensed danger. Do you know what it could be? A flash of brown fur. What animal might be hunting for the birds? Stalking through the trees was a sly old fox, out hunting for dinner. Dear. Charlie's heart began to beat faster and faster. Charlie thought of the birds who were feeding on the ground. He needed to warn them before it was too late. I hope he can warn them. Charlie took a deep breath and let out the loudest screech. And that old fox quickly turned and fled with his bushy tail between his legs. And every single bird screeched and squawked and flapped their wings in panic. In a flash, each one flew to the highest treetops until not a single bird was left on the ground. There's Charlie giving a big screech, and all the birds are flying back up into the trees, away from the danger of that fox. Once perched safely on their branches, each bird called out Charlie's name and cheered as loudly as they could, for their hero had saved their lives. Charlie was a hero and saved their lives by screeching to warn them about that fox. So they're all chanting, Charlie, Charlie, Charlie. Hooray for Charlie. So Charlie was a hero, wasn't he? The big galah was ashamed and he flew across the branch to where Charlie was sitting. I was wrong, admitted the galah. You are the best bird for the job. And I was silly to think I could be the boss. Please come back. There's the galah, feeling very sorry that he tried to be the boss. I hope Charlie decides to be the boss. Do you think Charlie will decide to be the boss again? Charlie looked at the sorry galah. Then he bobbed his head and fluffed up his yellow crest. Everything was going to be okay. Charlie, the cockatoo, the Nayuk, was back in charge. And look at Charlie. He looks very happy to be back in charge. He's fluffed up his crest on his head, feeling very proud again. Charlie did a great job of saving all the animals, all the birds, didn't he? That's what cockatoos do. That's something that a cockatoo does do. When there's lots of birds, one of the cockatoos sits high up in the tree and watches out for danger. And if any danger comes along, they give a big screech to warn all the other birds. So that was a great story about Charlie the Nayuk, the yellow-crested, sulphur-crested cockatoo. Now, I thought, I wonder if I can make a cockatoo craft. And I came up with an idea, and I'm going to show you how you can make a cockatoo craft. There's lots of different ones on the internet, but I found a fairly easy one that you might like to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt my laptop down so that you'll be able to see the cockatoo craft. So first of all, I had a plain piece of cardboard, and I cut out a few different shapes. So I cut out a white shape, and it's like a pear shape. So cut out a white pear shape, and I cut out, now if you've got a small hand, you might be able to trace your hand. My hand was too big, so I just drew a hand shape, and I've cut it out of yellow paper. If you haven't got yellow paper, you might have some white paper that you can colour in yellow. And that's going to be his crest. And I cut out, or I drew a little beak shape and cut that out. So that's going to be the cockatoo's beak. And I did cut out some legs, just out of black paper. Then I cut out some tail feathers. So I've just cut them in that kind of shape. And I actually cut out 4 of them. So I've got 4 tail feathers. And I don't know if you can see it, but I've actually just put a little bit of yellow around the edge down the bottom here. It might be a bit hard to see. So I've got some tail feathers. And then I cut out some wing feathers. So again, just out of white paper, just in kind of like a bit of a funny shape. It doesn't really matter what shape you do. And I cut out 4 of those. And then I actually cut out some little green leaves to put on my tree. But you can even just draw your leaves. So what I'm going to do, what you'll need is you'll need a glue stick. And you'll need some scissors. You might need some bigger people to help you cut out the shapes, to draw the shapes and cut them out. So now I'm just going to move all that aside. I'm going to tip this down, tilt it down so you can see what I'm doing. And I'll do it upside down. So I'll have a go at doing it upside down so you can see what I'm doing. So I've got my glue stick. And I'm going to put some glue on my white pear shape, because that's going to be the Nayuk's body. So the fat part of the pear shape kind of goes on the bottom. Now I probably should have stuck his crest on first. So I'm going to put some glue on the hand shape for the crest. And I'm going to put that just under there a bit. And there's his crest. And then I'm going to put his beak on next. So I'll put some glue on the back of his beak. And stick his beak on. Now I might just draw a little eye. It's going to be tricky because I'm drawing it upside down. So I'll draw an eye with his eye. Now his tail feathers. So I'll put a bit of glue on his tail feathers and just stick his tail feathers on there. Glue on that one. And sort of overlap them a bit on his tail feathers. And the last tail feather. There's his tail feathers. Then I'm going to put his wing feathers on. So put a bit of glue on his wing feathers. Just on each one, and just put his wing feathers on there. We could make his wings out a bit, couldn't we? Like as if he's going to fly away. wing feathers on there. Now I'm going to just draw a tree, because it can be sitting on a tree. There's a branch for him to sit on. There's some more branches. He's sitting up in the tree. He might be sitting up in the tree ready to warn other birds if there's any danger. This is not a very good brown one. But there we are, we've got a tree. Now you can either draw some legs on him, or you can stick his legs on out of brown paper. Sorry, black paper I had there. And then I'm going to stick some leaves on some of these branches. So you can either cut out some leaves, or you might even like to just draw some leaves. You might draw a little twig going down there for the leaves to be on. Let's put that one upside down. Put some more leaves up here on these twigs. You could even draw some leaves. You don't have to cut leaves out. You can actually draw some leaves. Another leaf on, and then we might just draw a couple of leaves. So I've got a green texture. Whoops, that one stuck to my finger. Some leaves there. My fingers are a bit sticky with the glue, so you could draw some more leaves. If you haven't got any green paper, you can just draw some leaves. This is tricky drawing upside down. But just draw a couple of leaves on there, and you can make your own. Oh, that's a funny shaped leaf, that one. But there we have our Nayuk. Let's pop that up again. We have our Nayuk sitting up in the tree, ready to warn all the other birds if there's any danger. So you might like to make a Nayuk of your own. Just put my glue stick away. Okay, so what I'd like to do now for you is, we have talked about the Aboriginal names for our animals, and I want to just go over those, but I'm going to show you the Aboriginal art symbols that we use for the animal tracks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an animal track, and I want you to think about what animal might make that track when they're moving along the ground. So these are tracks of some of the animals that we've learnt the names of. So I'm going to show you the first one. It's a bit hard because the light shines on it a bit. Can you guess what animal might make that track on the ground? I'll see if you guessed this animal. Let me see. Did you guess a Kirrae? I think you might have. So that is the animal track symbol for a Kirrae, for a snake. Here's another one a bit like the Whurrong. It's got a squiggly line, a bit like a Whurrong, but it's got dots for legs. Can you guess what animal might make that? Sort of goes along the ground a bit, but it's got legs. I wonder if you guessed this animal. A mullein, a lizard. A mullein. So that is the symbol for our mullein, our lizard. Let's see another one. Oh, I wonder if you know what this one is. I'll put it this side, might be easier to see. I wonder what animal might make a track like that. They have big back legs and they can jump a long way. Can you guess what it is? Let me see if you guessed a Kirrae, a kangaroo, a Kirrae, because they have big, strong back legs, don't they? Just hold it this side. So that's the symbol for a Kirrae. It's a bit like two arrows, doesn't it? Oh, this is one that climbs trees, very good at climbing trees, has fluffy ears, and you might see them at Tower Hill. And do you know what they do a lot of? Sleeping. So what animal do you think might make a track like that? Did you guess a windkeel? A koala, a windkeel. That's what track a windkeel has. Or that's the track that the Aboriginal people use for a windkeel. Now what about this one? Can you guess what makes that one? Something that's got big feet. You see lots of these out at Tower Hill too. And it's got feathers. And it can't fly. Did you guess a kapeering? An emu. A kapeering. That's the symbol for the kapeering. And the next one I've got, might be a bit of a tricky one. This little creature it climbs up trees too, comes out at night, and it likes to eat our fruit. Has a long tail, sometimes with a curl on the end, and fur. See if you guessed a Kurramuk. A possum, a Kurramuk. So that is the symbol for a Kurramuk, a possum. And I've got one more today, and where did I put it? There it is. This is a creature that you would have to be careful that you didn't try and pat. Because if you try and pat it, you might go, ouch, ouch. Can you think what little creature might have something on its back that might spike you? Did you guess a Whurrong and a echidna? A Whurrong. So that's the symbol that we use and that people use for the echidna, the Whurrong. So that's some of the Aboriginal art symbols that we use. So you might be able to draw some of those one day. If you're drawing a picture, you might be able to put some animal tracks on your pictures as well. Well, we've had lots of fun today, and I'm going to finish off with a song. And this is a song that you'll need to get up for, and you'll need to do the actions, and we have done it before, and it's called The Hairy One. So let me find The Hairy One here on my iPad, and you can get ready. You can stand up and get ready to do the actions to the hairy one. Let me see if, whoops, I nearly went to the wrong spot. Let me see. There we go. I'm not sure about this because it's greyed out. Let me see if it's going to work.
Who's afraid of the hairy one?
Not me. All right, I'm going to stand up too so that we can do the actions to the hairy one. And I'll push my chair out of the way. You all standing up, ready to do the actions to the hairy one? Okay, let's pop it on.
Not me. Who's afraid of the hairy one? It's the story we love best. We've heard this story before, but we want to hear it just once more. We know it's scary and we feel prepared. We know it's pretend, so we're not scared. You ready?
Are you ready?
Yeah, we're not scared. Snuggled up in blankets on a starry night, the campfire gives a gentle light. Camped out bush far away from home, Uncle tells the story of the hairy one. The story starts and we lean in close, a little bit scary, but that's what we like the most. Keep looking out behind us into the dark, jump out of our skins when we hear a dog bark. You ready? Yeah, we're not scared. Big eyes like saucers and a hairy nose, hairy fingers and hairy toes, tiny feet and great big hands, run through the night across the land. Uncle starts to whisper, is it true what we hear? Could it be the hairy one? He's very near. Will he tiptoe through our camp while we're fast asleep? Or run through the bush and jump right out of the creek? Campfire's getting low, we cuddle up to our mates, hoping that the hairy one will wait. Once the night is over and the sun is in the sky, at least it will be daylight if the hairy one runs by. Ready? Yeah, we're not scared. Big eyes like saucers and a hairy nose, hairy fingers and hairy toes, tiny feet and great big hands, run through the night across the land. Big eyes like saucers and a hairy nose, hairy fingers and hairy toes, tiny feet and great big hands, run through the night across the land.
Well done. Give yourselves a big clap with your meringue. Well done. Well, guess what? It's time for me to say Whurrong. I've had lots of fun today and I hope you have too. And I hope to see you again next week. So Whurrong for now, and I'll see you again soon.